Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wicked Encounters, where we explore just what goes bump in the night. I'm your host, Allie, and it's every horror fan's favorite time of year, October! In celebration of the spookiest month, I've compiled a list of movies that I think are worth sharing with you guys. And I'm calling it the 31 Days of Wicked Horror. We're on the 22nd day of October now, but in case it's your first time checking in, I'll tell you how I've selected these movies that I believe are worthy enough for you to watch. First off, none of the movies are going to be older than 20 years, so we can add some newer videos to our must-watch lists instead of continuing to repeat the same ones from 50 years ago. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, anyone? Secondly, I'll be providing the synopsis and plot of the movies for those who may not like surprises or just want to listen to know what the movies are about. There will be a slide letting you know when we're coming up on it, and I'll let you know where it's safe to click on to avoid spoilers. Also, while many of the movies are streamable, I'm not going to really provide the info on where you can watch them because it varies based on where you live, and streaming services are the butts. Finally, I'm going to give you some reasons as to why the movie stands out, and why I think you'll like it. So, 24 on our list is 2017's It. It is a supernatural horror film based on Stephen King's 1986 novel of the same name. Directed by Andy Muschietti and written by Cha Palmer, Cary Fukunaga, and Gay Doberman, with production by New Line Cinema, Lynn Pictures, Vertigo Entertainment, and Cat Smith Productions. The film is set in the fictional town of Derry, Maine, and follows a group of young outcasts who band together to confront a malevolent entity that preys on children. I'm going to go more in depth and go over the plot of the movie now, so if you'd like to skip, you'll know where to skip to in 3, 2, 1. The story begins in October 1988 when a young boy named Georgie Denbrough ventures out into the rain to sail a paper boat made by his older brother, Bill. As Georgie follows the boat down the street, it falls into a storm drain. When Georgie peers into the drain, he encounters Pennywise, the dancing clown, a menacing figure with glowing eyes and a sinister smile. Pennywise lures Georgie closer and, in a shocking and brutal scene, pulls the boy into the drain, killing him. The film then shifts to the following summer in 1989, where Bill, still grieving his brother's disappearance, becomes obsessed with finding out what happened to Georgie. He believes that Georgie might still be alive, trapped in the sewers beneath Derry. Bill is joined by his friends, who collectively call themselves the Losers Club. The group includes Richie Tozier, the wisecracking Joker, Eddie Kaspbrak, a hypochondriac, Stan Uris, a Jewish boy who struggles with his faith, Mike Hanlon, a homeschooled boy dealing with racism and the death of his parents, Ben Hanscom, a chubby new kid who is passionate about history and has a crush on Beverly Marsh, who is the only girl in the group, dealing with an abusive father and rumors about her promiscuity. As the summer progresses, each member of the Losers Club begins to experience terrifying encounters with Pennywise, who appears to them in forms that reflect their deepest fears. For example, Ben is haunted by a headless boy, Beverly is terrorized by blood erupting from her bathroom sink, and Eddie sees a leper. These encounters reveal that Pennywise is not just a clown, but an ancient, shape-shifting entity that awakens every 27 years to feed on the children of Derry. The Losers Club eventually pieces together the history of Derry, learning that the town has been plagued by unexplained tragedies and child disappearances for centuries. Ben, in particular, discovers that the current wave of disappearances coincide with Pennywise's cycle of terror. The group realizes that they must confront Pennywise together if they hope to survive. Their first attempt to face Pennywise occurs at an abandoned house on Neibolt Street, where they believe he's hiding. Inside the house, they're separated and individually terrorized by Pennywise, who uses their fears against them. Despite this, they manage to regroup and injure Pennywise, forcing him to retreat. However, the encounter leaves the group traumatized and divided, with tensions rising between them. After a brief falling out, the Losers Club reunites when Beverly is kidnapped by Pennywise and taken to his lair beneath the sewers. The boys, led by Bill, rally together to rescue her, overcoming their fears and insecurities in the process. In the sewers, they discover Pennywise's lair, where the bodies of missing children float in a state of suspended animation. Bill confronts Pennywise, who tries to deceive him by taking the form of Georgie. But Bill realizes that his brother is truly gone and shoots him with a bolt gun, revealing it to be another of Pennywise's illusions. The Losers Club then engages in a final battle with Pennywise, who attempts to break their spirits by manifesting their worst fears. But the group fights back with renewed courage, and together they severely wound Pennywise. Realizing that the children are no longer afraid of him, Pennywise retreats deeper into the sewers, disappearing into a pit. In the aftermath, the Losers Club vows to return to Derry if Pennywise ever comes back. They form a blood oath, cutting their hands and holding them together as a symbol of their bond. The film ends with the group going their separate ways, with Bill finally finding closure over Georgie's death. The final scene hints at Pennywise's return, setting the stage for the second part of the story. And with that, the film ends. Hey guys, I'm back! Nice to see you! To those who stayed, I hope you enjoyed what you heard enough to give it a watch. And for those who skipped, don't worry. This isn't the one with the triggering opening. That's the other one. Unless children getting eaten triggers you, I suppose. But what are the chances of that? More importantly, I bet you're wondering why it made it onto the list. What exactly makes it stand out? Well, besides for the nostalgia from the original movie, it has strong character development. It stands out for its focus on character development, particularly the bond between the members of the Losers Club. Each child is given a distinct personality and backstory, making them relatable and sympathetic. The film spends considerable time building their friendships, which adds emotional depth and makes the audience care about their fate. Coming-of-age story. While it is a horror film, it is also a coming-of-age story that explores themes of friendship, fear, and resilience. The film captures the struggles of adolescence, from dealing with bullies and overbearing parents to facing one's inner demons. This dual narrative of growing up and facing supernatural terror gives the film a unique emotional resonance. Effective use of horror and atmosphere. It effectively balances jump scares with atmospheric horror. The film uses tension-building techniques such as eerie music, unsettling visuals, and moments of quiet before a scare to create a sense of dread. The horror is not just confined to Pennywise's attacks, but is also embedded in the everyday fears of the characters, making the terror feel more pervasive. Visual and practical effects. The film uses a combination of practical effects and CGI to bring Pennywise and his various forms to life. The use of practical effects, especially in the makeup and costuming of Pennywise, adds a tangible, realistic quality to the horror. The CGI is used judiciously to enhance the supernatural elements, such as the contorted movements of Pennywise and the floating bodies in his lair. Faithful adaptation with modern touches. It successfully adapts Stephen King's novel for a modern audience, while staying true to the source material's essence. The film captures the spirit of King's work, particularly the themes of childhood trauma and the power of memory. At the same time, it updates the setting to the 1980s instead of the 1950s as it was in the book, and incorporates modern horror sensibilities, making it accessible to both longtime fans and new viewers. Balancing humor and horror. The film expertly balances horror with moments of humor, particularly through the character of Richie Tozer, whose witty remarks and banter provide comic relief. This balance helps to humanize the characters and makes the horror more effective by contrasting it with lighter moments. Exploration of fear. It delves into the concept of fear and how it manifests differently for each person. Pennywise's ability to shapeshift into the children's worst fears makes the horror personal and psychological. The film explores how fear can be paralyzing, but also how it can be overcome through courage and solidarity. Cinematic craftsmanship. The film is well crafted, with strong direction by Andy Muschietti, effective pacing, and high production values. The cinematography captures both the idyllic and the eerie aspects of Derry, while the score by Benjamin Wallfisch heightens the tension and atmosphere. It stands out in the horror genre for its blend of supernatural terror and heartfelt storytelling. Its focus on character development, exploration of fear, and the strong performance by Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise makes it a memorable and impactful horror film. The film's ability to evoke both fear and empathy, combined with its cinematic craftsmanship, ensures its place as a modern horror classic. And that's all I have on it. But don't worry, there's a few movies left to go. Mind you, I only have 9 more movies that I'll be sharing with you. What do you think they could be? How do you feel about It being on the list? Would It make it onto yours? Oh boy, this title, huh? Speaking of, which of the movies do you prefer? The OG or the new one? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to discuss horror more in depth with you all, so feel free to join the Wicked Encounters Discord group. If you like what I do and want to support me, maybe consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking that little bell icon so you know when I post. If you want to support me in other ways, maybe check out my Patreon. Speaking of, I'd like to give a great big thank you to my patrons, Nikala and Beefalump. You guys have helped make my October the best. Well, that's all I've got time for today. So remember, I'm Allie, this is Wicked Encounters, and I'll see you next time. Bye!